Lily's point of view. Hurry up, Lily. Geez, you have nothing to work with anyway. Did you even take a bath? I rolled my eyes for what felt like the millionth time. Why Lunatina decided her spoiled, stuck-up daughter Evelyn, who also hated my guts, would be the perfect person to help me get ready for my wedding was beyond me. Although helping was a far reach. So far, she had pulled me out of bed by my hair, shoved me into my creaky chair in front of my vanity, and screamed at me to get ready. Since then, she had done nothing but mess around on her phone and occasionally insult me. "Yes, Evelyn?" I snapped. She snorted in response and went back to her phone. I was nearly ready. My thick red hair was pulled up into a French twist, my veil tucked into it nicely. I had no makeup, so I had no choice but to go natural. It didn't bother me much. My skin was flawless with no acne. I would have liked something to try and conceal how pale my cheeks were and the bags under my eyes, though. I was extremely pale due to a lack of food, which made me look sickly. My full lips were dry and peeling slightly. I hadn't had a drink in over 24 hours, and how I wish I could say it was from nerves. Sadly, it wasn't. I had a straight, proud nose, so I guess that was a plus. The only feature I really loved was my eyes. They were unbelievably green, like emeralds, but more. They almost shone with the depth of their color. My gaze swept down to my dress. It was gorgeous. The only thing I had ever received from Alpha Theo in the 13 years I'd been at this pack. Alpha Theo and Lunatina of the Snow Moon Pack had adopted me when I was 5 years old. I have no recollection of my life or family from before. Many times I had tried to remember, but it was a blank, fuzzy. Eventually, I'd stopped trying. My first memory was 13 years ago, entering Snow Moon's borders and staggering around until I came across the pack house. Foolishly, I'd raided the kitchen as I had been starving, and Lunatina had caught me red-handed. Terrified and alone, she had taken me in. Though I quickly found out she wasn't exactly merciful. I was made to clean, cook, and serve the pack, with harsh punishments if I strayed, argued, or talked back. Her daughter, Evelyn, was the same age as me, and just as cruel as her parents. Her main source of enjoyment was tormenting me. Once, when we were 10, I had spilled a glass of orange juice on the floor. Evelyn had walked right up to me and dumped the remaining glass over my head, immediately screaming for her parents, claiming I had thrown a glass at her and then dumped the juice on her when I missed. None of her friends had backed me up, and I'd spent 3 days in a cell in the dungeon with no food or water and merciless beatings from Alpha Theo and Lunatina. I had no idea how I survived, and at the time I wasn't overly happy that I did. Over the years, however, I'd simply learned to stay away from everyone as much as possible. When that wasn't possible, I just kept my eyes down and my mouth shut. The punishments happened less and less, but when they did happen, they were extreme. If Evelyn had a bad day at school, she would take it out on me. Sometimes her friends would join in, leaving me in whatever state they felt like when they were done. More often than not, I'd wished for death. Until I got my wolf, Aya. It was thanks to her that I found my voice again, my will to fight back, somewhat. She was strong, snarky, and my only friend. She was the only reason I'd managed to keep my sanity. I smiled to myself, remembering the night she finally came forward. It happened one night while I was in the last room on the main floor, just finishing up mopping. Suddenly a voice had me screaming and dropping the mop, splashing water everywhere. "Hello? Who's there?" I asked nervously. I spun in a slow circle looking for a sign of another person. Laughter. "No need to be so jumpy. I won't hurt you, Lily." I realized the voice was in my head. "You're my wolf. Bingo." "Is that your name? Bingo?" I asked. Odd. "What? No, silly girl. My name is Aya, and it's so nice to finally be here with you. It's really nice to meet you too, I figured—" I trailed off helplessly. "That you didn't have a wolf?" "I know." "You do?" she sighed. "I've always been here, Lily. I know those jerks told you that you couldn't possibly have a wolf and all the other garbage they've put you through. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry I wasn't here to help you, but I'm here now, and you'll always have me to watch your back. Screw this pack and screw them for the hell they've put you through." I laughed, full of joy. I had a wolf. This was the best day of my life. "Oh, Lily?" "Yes, Aya," I answered. "Happy birthday." I grinned so wide, I didn't even mind that I had to remop the floor. I snap out. That was last month, my 18th birthday. I hadn't shifted yet as wolves shift for the first time on the full moon after their 18th birthday. I couldn't wait to see what Aya looked like. My reminiscing was interrupted by Evelyn's high-pitched voice. "What the heck are you smiling about?" Aya snarled in my head. I shook my head but didn't answer. Evelyn narrowed her eyes at me and stood, moving towards me. She stood behind me with her hands on her hips, cocking her head to the side. "You know, slave, I think you could use a little color in your cheeks." She smiled wickedly. I immediately jumped up and tried to dash to the door, but she was quick. Grabbing my arm, she spun me around and landed a vicious blow to my left cheek. While I was still stunned, she repeated the action to my right cheek. Tears sprang to my eyes, accompanying the stinging on my face. Aya roared in my head, momentarily deafening me while Evelyn laughed. I didn't even hear the insult she threw at me. Holding my cheeks, I turned quickly for the door, exiting the room with Evelyn hot on my heels. "You'll be back, you know," she said. "I know you think this marriage is your ticket out of here, but it's not. As soon as your groom realizes who my parents are marrying him off to, he'll throw you out faster than you can blink. I'll be surprised if he even goes through with the ceremony." She hissed. Stepping in front of me, she grabbed my throat roughly. "You will always be nothing but a slave." Evelyn released me, shoving me back a few feet. Without another glance, she marched down the hall and out of sight around the corner. I leaned against the wall, taking deep breaths. "She's wrong. Don't listen to her, Lily," my wolf Aya tried to soothe me. "She's right, though. I've always been a slave. Who could possibly want me? Look at me." "I do. You're stronger than you realize. You've been through so much and you're still here, still standing. Even if this guy throws you out, we won't come back here." I blinked. "You'd go rogue?" "I told you I'd always be here with you, even if we had to be rogue." Tears welled up again, but this time from happiness. "Wow, thank you." "I love you, Aya." "I love you too, Lily. Now let's go get married," she cheered with mock enthusiasm. I laughed quietly. Straightening my dress and my hair, I began walking down the hallway. With each step, nerves began to pool in my stomach. See, the craziest thing about my situation was that I actually didn't know who I was marrying. This whole thing was arranged without my knowledge, at least until last week. I'd been a server at the yearly Alphas meeting, which was at Snow Moon Pack this year. The next day, Alpha Theo and Lunatina had dragged me into the Alpha's office and told me I was getting married. They never said to whom, and they never gave me the option to say no. All they said was they were getting more for my hand in marriage than I was worth, and they were glad to be finally getting rid of me. I couldn't say I was unhappy about the prospect of leaving this pack, but I was scared of marrying an unknown man. I couldn't fathom why anyone would want me, to be honest. I assumed it was someone from an ally pack who wanted a slave. The more I thought about this, the more I believed it to be true. After all, Alpha Theo could pick any random girl to replace me. Lost in my fears, I finally reached the grand double doors to the hall where the ceremony was taking place. Voices buzzed from inside. I felt like vomiting, but also something else. My head began to swim and I was suddenly too hot. My heart rate was picking up quickly and I felt lightheaded. Was I about to pass out minutes before my wedding?